Wait.
All right.
Dimmer, it was a pressureful game. How did you think the team handled it?
Yeah, it was good. It was a good game of footy. You know, even from a coaching point of view, it was a good game to watch. Both sides, I thought, had various times of ascendancy, and a lot of that was based off clearance. But you know, I sort of looked at the maturity of our group, and a couple of times I thought we absorbed pressure really well and started to exert the influence of our ball movement moving forward. So, look, I was quite happy with the end result. Obviously, from a win-loss point of view, but there's some steps within that with the process that we put in place to get a better result. So I thought our guys stepped up. Disappointing last week against Carlton, but I thought we raised the bar a little bit tonight, which is great.
It's a bit of a different way you guys are winning. You're down inside 50s, down in clearances,
yeah.
normally bread and butter. Defensively, you held up really well tonight.
Yeah, we did. Look, I thought, once again, the game didn't look ideally perfect for us, but I think the measure of a good side, and we're on the way to becoming that, is the way sometimes you can win when things aren't quite stacked up. Your, chips were stacked a little bit against you. So, I thought our backs had hung really tough. I thought Sam Collins was incredible down backs, had a wonderful year, and I thought our midfield, really took the game on and probably raised their colours compared to what they did last week, which is good.
Do you think Collins' strength was also helping his other teammates? I mean, someone who's been really building is Andrew.
Yeah.
What did you make of him?
Yeah, well, Colo's got great leadership traits. Obviously, something I've noticed when from the outside coming in, how valuable he is. First he can play the game to a very high standard, but his leadership is incredible. And, Mac's learning off him as well. Mac is just an ultra competitor. How the things he can do, there's not many other players can do throughout the league, but he's still learning the game and some things that he does really well. There's some things that he does which I shake my head at times, and he can just do. But he's going to be a wonderful player, I think, for our footy club for a long period of time.
Scores level a couple of times in that last quarter. What did you do well in those moments? And then again, once it got back to 5 points late.
Yeah, it was more just, the scoreboard is always there. It dictates our outcome, obviously. But the more you start to look at the scoreboard, the greater the anxiety, the greater stress. We just had to worry about the process in place and understand the things that we had to implement, but more importantly, negate for the Bombers. There's some things that, in the first and the third quarter, we lost control of the game a little bit. The ground looked incredibly long, big. It was a bit of a game of, ping pong for both sides, really. So we had to make sure we took that away from them a bit better. And we did that, I thought, after three-quarter time.
Ben Long, 100th game,
yeah.
3 of his 4 goals. Is that the best you've seen him in Suns Cup?
Look, he's been terrific ever since he's come in, to be honest. He competes, he's defensive pressure, and he's a very good finisher. He's a player, funnily enough, I've admired since my time at Richmond. The way he goes about his craft, I've always thought he looks like a really good forward because he competes above his height. But then, more importantly, at ground level, he's just so combative. It's a great testament to him. And we sort of spoke about it yesterday, that we wanted to take some of the traits that Ben brings and bring out into our game, and I thought our guys did him proud today. He's got an incredible pimple on the top of his head. That's, he played his 100th game, but that pimple played its first game. I'll tell you what, that was a shocker, Ben. Go after yourself.
Ned felt that he touched that goal from behind. Insufficient evidence, though, it was called. What did you make of how the process unfolded out there?
How did you make the process?
That's a great question.
Well, my kids in Melbourne could see it was touched, so...
Yeah, I felt
look, I'm not too sure. You'll get clarification. Look, the thing is, it certainly looked touched from our point of view, but, not the first time I've been dudded by the arc. Stop bringing it up, actually, which is good. But anyway, they'll figure it out.
First time you've sort of seen live the interpretation that you were a big advocate of before?
Yeah. Well, I thought over the course of the weekend, and they're going to get some wrong, but I thought they got the vast majority right. I thought it opened up the game. I thought we saw a brilliant round of footy, from what I saw. And, the game, I think it was on Friday night at might have been the Collingwood and Bulldogs game, I thought was great because of it. It certainly opened it up. And, once again, if they're consistent with it, I think the players will adjust a hell of a lot quicker, and it will set, as we keep talking about, set the Sharon free, which is something we want to do. So I thought they did a great job. Short time around, they're only going to get better at adjudicating it, but I also think that the players will get a better understanding about what is and what is not.
Ben King's kicked a lot of goals in the first half of the year. What have you seen from him, and how much improvement do you think's left there?
Well, once again, the goals are outcome. What I've been really excited with Ben's game is his ability to compete. He doesn't get beaten in the air. He brings the ball to ground, which then obviously guys like, Longy, Banger Ainsworth, Tommy Berry, those sort of players, Nick Holman can then get their game up and going. The goals are what everyone else sees, but I've been just so pleased with his ability to compete in the air and compete at ground level. And then defensively, we've challenged him a little bit, and he's certainly improved in that aspect of his game as well. I was really pleased with his game tonight.
I just want to jump back to Ned again. Obviously, the second game where he's had to go and face Wits, and he's been, from what I can see, really great both times. Is it comforting to know that you've got a really strong backup ruck?
Certainly go to sleep very, very happy that Ned Moore's part of our squad. Look, and he's obviously going to be highly sorted. He's out of contract when we understand that, but he knows how much we love him. He's certainly, and him and Witt are a formidable combination. Jared's more towards the end than the start of his career, but Ned's very much firmly at the start. So he's going to be a long-term prospect for us. It's going to be enormous about how far we go as a footy club. He's learning a great deal from not only Jared Witts, but also Sean Grigg through the midfield part of the game. So we're really pumped to have him.
What's the extent of Witts' hamstring?
Oh, look, we think it might be a 1 weeker at this stage, but we'll get a better indication. It only happened obviously late this week, so he had scans. I can't even remember the time frame on it, to be honest, but we'll get that out in due course.
How far do you think you can go this year? You spoke earlier in the season about not getting off the porch and play with the big dogs yet.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, we've got a challenge next week. That's as far as we're looking. It's a nice, boring old answer from a coach, but we haven't won the away game yet. So we've got to sit there and we've got to understand what that looks like and what that feels like. And the challenge is set. We're very good at home. We've got a great understanding of how to play here, but we need to start leaving our mark on the away games. That's the challenge for us. So our thoughts are no further than next week versus St Kilda. A good win this week versus West Coast, and the challenge is set for our boys. If we play our very best footy, which we know we can and we're capable of doing, we're going to be hard to beat. But the fact of the matter is, if we allow St Kilda to play their game, the same can be said of them. Thanks, guys. I've got to drink that milk.
Yes.
Do I really have to drink the milk?
No.
It's dairy farmers. I will have a sip of the milk.
Lactose tolerant.
Beautiful. Thank you.